Welcome back, brothers. And by the title of the video, I'm sure you've already figured it out. I got a new car. And to be honest, this has always been one of my dream cars. One of the cars that I've always wanted in my life. One of those that I always thought of as a kid, of driving and imagining it and dreaming about it. And this is kind of, basically this car means to me is all the hard work that I've put in, all the time and effort and the studying, and all this is basically paying off for this car. Ultimately, I really would love to have a bug eye, but the fact that I know the person who had this car and he was selling the car and he really gave me a good deal on it, it's not by any means the most pristine STI out there, but the fact that it is one and I really had the opportunity to be able to do it and I could actually afford it is huge, and it's a huge milestone in my life. And I encourage you guys to work your butts off and really dig in and find out what it is that you like to do and can enjoy doing to make the money and get the dreams that you want in your life. And that's part of what this channel is about, is getting what you want out of life and being able to accomplish the things that you want to do. And if there's any way that I can help, then that's awesome, and I'd love to be able to do that. So, but anyway, I haven't really looked at this car. I mean, I've seen it a couple times. Obviously, I've looked in the engine bay, but I've never had it up on the lift. So here we're gonna do just a little overview and actually check out what this car is all about. One thing that really annoys me about this car is when it's running, and even if you're not moving, if you're sitting in it, the seatbelt noise just continues to beep until you put your seatbelt on. Even if you're not moving. Like here it is right now, the car's not even running, and it's yelling at me about not having my seatbelt on. That has got to be one of the most annoying things about this car. But just to show you little other details too. You got some, I have a little bit of hail. Let's see if I can. Kind of hard to see, but it does have some hail damage on the hood. Some of the paint is chipping off on the hood scoop and on the front bumper here. The interior has plenty of burn holes in it, although, oh, it's still locked. I have cleaned it up quite a bit, and there's like a burn hole here. It's hard to see because of the tint and how bad the lighting is around here, but it's not the cleanest, but it is pretty nice. My goodness, I need to turn this off. This is terrible. Yeah, I mean, for those of you probably watching this, you've probably seen your fair share of these STIs, so it's probably nothing new to you. Engine bay is nothing short of typical. The thing that really wanted me to buy this from the person that I bought it from is he had just rebuilt the engine about maybe 20,000 miles ago. And he is an engine builder. He's actually the machine shop that we deal with. So I know that it was done right. He also had gotten a brand new rebuilt turbo for this thing as well. So that also helps out in knowing that this thing is a quality car, that I'm not worried about buying it from some random dude that's saying, oh, it's driving, you know, brand new rebuilt, and then the thing blows up next week. You Subaru guys know what I'm talking about. Other than that, I do plan to do an oil change on this thing today because it is a little nasty. And like I said, we're gonna get it up in the air and check everything out. So like I said, this is the first time I've had this thing on the lift, so you guys are seeing it for the first time just like I am. And one thing I've got to say, I can't believe this thing still has a splash guard on it. So many Subarus I've seen, worked on, owned, and not a single one had a splash shield. But this one still has it. My goodness, so that is some encouragement in itself. But as we look down, it's fairly clean, you know, you got the typical rust going on. The exhaust looks like trash, but you know, hey, what are you gonna do? The differential's pretty rusty back here. So is some of the suspension, but all of it's just like typical surface rust I expect to see from an 06, especially, you know, being a vehicle that a lot of people like to drive in the snow. You're definitely gonna see some more rust scale than you would something that was garage kept. If you haven't noticed, something that we enjoy doing around here, straight piping things, or just res deleting, muffler deleting, whatever it is, because this thing especially with the stock exhaust on it, is so quiet. I can't even hear it until I'm really putting my foot in it. And even then, it's still pretty damn quiet. This is definitely the one I'm gonna be deleting here. I wanna keep the muffler because I don't want it to be too loud. I kinda wanna keep it relatively stock sounding, but this is a good resonator that I can get rid of. It's not cat deleting, so I'm not messing with the emissions at all or anything. And it's also gonna be very easy because it's a straight shot. I can just cut it, and then put a straight piece of pipe here. It's a very easy install, and it should change the tone enough to make this thing sound pretty sweet. Well, other than that, there's not really much to see under this thing. You've seen the gist of it. There are some things though. I bought it with strut problems. So the rear struts pop and bang and carry on. Actually, I was at a stop light the other day, and I'd stopped kind of fast, and I didn't even realize it. I'm sitting there for a little bit, and then all of a sudden the rear just sunk. It's like boom, and it just sunk the tail. So I really know these struts got a dead spot and they kind of jammed up a little bit. So we're planning on doing some coilovers on this thing. I got some fairly cheap ones to try these out. We actually put them on Aaron's car if you've seen the Del Sol videos. Also putting new tires on it just because of the fact that the struts pretty much ruin those rear tires. And here actually is a really good way, guys, to show what happens to tires, or it's actually a good indicator that'll let you know when a strut is going bad before it actually goes bad or before you hear it. A good way to tell is actually looking at the tires and how it wears the tires. So with this one, it's kind of hard to see on camera because this one's not real aggressive yet because it just started doing it, but you can see it. If you can see how the inside of the tread, right here you can really see it, how it has this wave, like this one's way skinnier and this one's way puffed out. It does it over the entire circumference of the tire as it goes around. You can kind of see it. And it makes these waves and it makes it really noisy. And the reason it does that is because when that strut starts getting loose, the tire's bouncing up and down so fast, it wears the tires out in a very awkward manner. So that's a really good way to tell if your struts are going bad or not. Other than that, this car might not be featured too much on this channel. If there is some particular things that you guys want to see, let me know. I know that I don't have a ton of Subaru subscribers at this point, maybe a few from the black one that I had. And other than that, this is just gonna be my daily driver. We're gonna do some snow fun driving this winter. Definitely gonna take you guys along because I know I didn't do any of that last year. I don't know about you guys, I always thought this was cool. Didn't know until recently. These guys, check this out. Brake ducting. Now this one's not actually complete, but it has the ports so that you can add brake ducting to it. So see, the washer bottle's still there, and there's no opening to the actual wheel and where the caliper and the rotor is, but it does have it on both sides. And I didn't know that for the longest time, that that's actually what that was. I just thought it was just a panel covering up so like you could put fog lights if you wanted to. It's actually designed to do brake ducting. Now, I don't know if the 04s actually had a full brake ducting port on it, but at least these ones have the stage for it, and then you just got to complete it. But that, I thought that was the coolest thing ever, and we might have to end up doing that at some point. Really just depends on what I do with this car, but right now it's just gonna be my daily, so I just want to take care of it and make sure that I can continue to drive it comfortably and that it just does what I want it to do. I don't want it to break, you know? Another thing I've always enjoyed about these cars is the diff select. And here you have the diff select. So this trigger over here takes it in and out of manual or automatic mode, and then this one wheels it to where you want it. So once I take it out of automatic, then over here it shows you where you have it. So you can have it full lock to where locked in all-wheel drive all the time, or you can slowly wheel it down into all the way. Now I wish it was a little bit more. I was hoping that maybe it was more of like, you know, 90-10, 90 in the back, 10 in the front, but that's actually not the case. It's 59% in the back and 41 in the front, which is not a huge difference, and I was kind of hoping to be more rear wheel, but just the fact that it has that and the technology that goes behind all that, maybe I'll do that in one of these videos and get kind of involved onto how that actually works and is designed and everything, because that would be pretty cool. But I can't wait to really try this thing out because I haven't tried it much, and there's not really a way to tell it on the street, but in the snow I know I'm definitely going to feel a big difference, and you guys are going to find out about it too. And of course, can't forget the intercooler sprayer over here, the little button over here. Now the tank is in the trunk. If you look out here, you have this hose that comes up and runs right into the scoop here, and this water sprayer behind here sprays water onto the intercooler and wets it down. And then it's just kind of like sweating. When you're really hot and you sweat and the wind comes over you, it feels really cool and feels really good. So it's the same idea with the intercooler sprayer, where it sprays it down on the intercooler, and then when the wind comes over it, it cools it off and makes the intake temps way cooler, so the motor can handle more timing and more boost and not be knocking. So that's the whole idea of that, and I think that's a sweet idea. I love that, and I love how they came back with that in the newer STIs, because I know they did away with that for a little while, and then they brought it back. I don't remember which year it is, but they have, which is awesome. Now this style here, I'm not sure exactly what it does. It shows the headlights and it shows up and down like it would be an aimer, but I've played with it a couple times with the lights on and I don't notice it changing at all. So I'm not really sure, maybe the function doesn't work. Maybe some of you guys can chime in and tell me what it is. I'm sure I'll dive into my own research and find out, but I always like hearing from you guys to hear what you guys have to say. Yeah, and you guys gotta hear how quiet this thing is. You ready? I just finally put this oil in here. Listen to this thing. Silent. Not really silent, but sure is quiet though. You can still hear the rumble, but it's just not that loud. It's got that little rumble to it, but I want to hear the rasp. I want to hear the crispiness of these engines because they sound so good. And I found out that you can, the taillights from, I think it's 03 to 07 are the same. I have that silver one out there. I'm definitely gonna be swapping the taillights because those are actually STI taillights from an 04. And I definitely like those a lot more than these ones. I don't like the whole silver on the bottom. I think it kind of looks ugly. So I'm definitely gonna swap those over. I don't know if you have to change the plugs or anything or the light sockets, but I'll get into that and show you guys that one as well here in the future. But other than that, there you go guys. That's the new STI. Welcome to the family. And we're gonna move forward from here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. I always enjoy it. Subscribe, like the video, and let me know what you guys think. Other than that, see you guys on the next one.